instructor from a powerhouse instructor? Chris.
A good instructor, excuse me, it's funny, I had some notes in my phone, but I forgot my readers, so. Yeah, the struggles. So a good instructor teaches a good class, right? A powerhouse instructor creates an experience.
Yeah.
And every single class needs to be an experience. How many of you are fans of Disney? Okay, so Disney, have you heard the term bump the lamp? Okay, so in Disney, there's a term called bump the lamp, and it was when they were animating Roger Rabbit. So there was a scene where Bob Hoskins bumps into a lamp and the shadow swings. Then they had to animate Roger Rabbit in there, and they did it, and the animators were like, not good enough, because we've animated over some of the shadow that swings with the light. It was that level of detail. They call it bumping the lamp. So that attention to detail in every time you teach and making it this memorable experience, right? Because a lot of people teach classes, a lot of different formats, a lot of different facilities. But what you can't duplicate is creating this incredible experience. So getting into those details, from how you enter the room to the music you're playing while you're getting ready for class, to the way you greet people, introducing them to each other, the way then you conduct and execute the class, then what do you do afterward? It's everything creates that experience. You want people to leave going, that wasn't just a class, that was an absolute experience every single time you teach. And then the second piece is, and this is something we used to coach our instructors on, but we call it the 4 I's of being a great instructor. Inviting people, right? That's the first I, is you're inviting people constantly to come to this experience. Introducing people, so whether it's yourself to the class, members to other members, and creating like the community you've created here. Innovation, which your help through the Warrior, you're setting innovation all the time with new programming, new choreography, and all those things. And then interactions. Never forget that you may have 40 people in class, but they all came for you. So make it your quest in every single class that you have one unique interaction with every single person in that class. Whether it's a high five, a smile, a good job, a correct, just one unique interaction, because they all came for you. And sometimes we forget because we've got this group. So that would be my advice on a powerhouse instructor.
I love how you likened it to animation. It was cool. I'm gonna throw the same question to Ellen, and I'm actually gonna make it a little bit of a two-parter.
Okay.
I want you to elaborate on what makes you a powerhouse, but also how can you level up in that?
I had notes too on my phone, and I remember looking at them a couple weeks ago, but they're gone, so I'm just gonna talk off the top to you. I think the powerhouse factor for me relates to Diva's session where she asked about our superpower, and Mickey said listening, and Lara said storytelling, and Kelly said making people feel inclusive. Yeah, actually, I'm really similar to Kelly. I think so I think to be a powerhouse instructor, you have to tap into what your superpower is. Kind of like what Diva was challenging us to come up with in 60 seconds. And I'm similar to Kelly. I think similar but different. What's my word for that?
Similar.
That's love. Right there. That's love.
Next year's quiz.
That's right, baby. Except she doesn't want to go on a hike next year. So I think what my superpower is when I'm teaching classes is the same superpower I think I have with you, and why I've been successful as a leader with this organization. I think it's making people feel valued and special and uplifting them. Making it as much as I can about them and not myself. So that's me. I'm not. I can't be Diva. I'm not the one that sets the room on fire with my energy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Pick something else.
But I think really that's what has served me the best in my growth as a leader and as an instructor. I'm really just an instructor. I'm just like you. In fact, I wanted to have you guys come I teach 2 classes on Thursdays, and I wanted a strength at the DAC. I know Nicole wanted to go. Nicole, you're going, don't worry.
Well,
I know. I had teach Thursday, and I teach Thursday night at the Y, I teach combat, and I actually wanted to make that part of your pre-con experience because I wanted you guys to see me as just an instructor, not on a video, not on a stage. I wanted you to see me as you, because I am you. And so I think the how isn't a one size, to answer your two-parter, I don't think it's a one size fits all. I mean, maybe one of these leaders will have something that is a key that fits all of us, but my answer without any notes in my phone is that we have to find what is our strength and just lean into that and embrace it boldly. I loved what Angel said in that panel last night at dinner about just really embracing our oddities and foibles and uniqueness and weirdness. And so as I've learned to stay weird and be different and be okay, it's still hard, but to be okay when people don't like me, I'm telling you, my haters are growing. You know, they are. And
That's right.
they are. You know, the people that don't want me to succeed and stuff like that. And so it's hard. It's hard. You know, I'm a human with a big heart, and it's hard to tune that out. Stay focused on the people that do support and energize and feed. And so that's my answer.
Okay.
It's okay, we had trouble. Oh, there you go.
It went to sleep.
Yeah,
It was
it's
fine.
Tired.
It's
Was
because
that
we
too
talked
hard?
too long.
Okay, back on the track. This one is for Diva, and I actually want Diva and Ruben on this one. Diva, you go first. How do you, this is a good question for you. How do you personally prepare for a class?
Oh, God. Can I answer
Physically. There's a reason Ellen's not answering this question. How do you prepare? Mentally and physically.
Truthfully,
Yes.
She prepares?
will you stop? All right, so truthfully, one, I do not prep. I vibe. I know that sounds crazy. I just do. Like, I just vibe.
She's a vibe, yeah.
When I don't get my time to vibe though, I'm like, but I just kind of like, the talent team for combat will tell you, I'm kind of like, what we doing today? Kick, punch. All right, I got it. I'm in. Give me that, I'm in. So Elizabeth's laughing because she's always like, Diva. But I don't prep. I vibe. I don't like get energy. I kind of like go in. It's weird. For as loud as I am, and she knows this because she's around me a lot, I'm actually very quiet. So like leading up to this event, I'm quiet. I'm just like, okay, what do I need to say? What's the message that needs to be delivered? This is what I need to do for class. I know who's coming. All right. Like, it's almost like a visualizing, if that makes sense. Like, I see the class, I see the way it's gonna happen, I see the way I want it to happen, the interactions I want to happen, and I just kind of like zone out in that space and try to manifest what I created up here, if that helps.
That's amazing. I think it's really important to remind ourselves that we all have our own different methods to our uniqueness, how we prepare. Let's hear a different method of preparation, mentally and physically, from Ruben over here.
I'm totally the opposite. I feel like I have more like what Ellen, her vibe is. I'm a perfectionist, and I do it because I have passion. Not saying Diva doesn't have passion, but what I'm saying is I want to create a whole experience. I want you to dive in deep into everything that I do because I passionately believe that everyone has a mission to move, to touch, and inspire. Not just myself, but other people around. When I create an experience, what happens is that experience is contagious. Because what happens is that your members start seeing your experience because you perfected your craft. They feel empowered, and what happens is that they go explore. Once they leave those doors, they go out and tell the experience that you just gave them. And that is infectious. But what I also do, I visualize in my head, I plan, and I also ask feedback. What that means is that I ask my mentors, I may ask another instructor, say, hey, how does this look? Ruben, we need to change that. All right, but at least it gives me the way from another perspective. I am not a woman. I do not identify as a woman. My body moves differently, so I have to be inclusive. And what that means is for all. And if we have inclusive branding, that means that I need to make fitness for everybody. And making sure, are you really making it for everybody? Is your squat functional for every person? all right? But at the end of the day, you find your signature self by one, honing in, writing down what your strengths, your weaknesses are, and by visualizing the perfect class. Because not all of us are perfect, we make mistakes on stage all the time. But like they said, they come for you at the end of the day. And once you make that not about yourself, but about other people, then it becomes great.
Okay, I like that. You get this guy some background on that. I'm gonna flip the script a little bit on this one.
Oh, nice.
No
sound.
pun
I see what you did there.
Okay,
That was Janelle.
okay. Ellen,
Yes.
I want you to flip this, okay? How do you motivate a class when you see that they're typically not motivated or bring up the energy in that? How when the energy is low in the room or even in yourself,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Well, I was thinking actually about Mickey. I don't know how many of you guys have gotten a chance to meet Mickey in the back. She was my very first real, someone else hired me to get started in group fitness before Mickey, but she was my first boss in any way that like was significant. Like she took the time to mentor me and give me feedback. Like really, I learned a lot from her, a lot of my leadership skills from her. The way I am like direct, you're gonna have to probably remind me of the question because I'm on a cul-de-sac. It's a cul-de-sac, it comes back to the main road. No, it comes back. So I learned a lot of like my directness I adopted from her style. Anyway, I was thinking about her just because she's here this weekend, and she went with me, she drove me to get divorced. And I remember she asked me what song I needed to hear in the car ride to the courthouse, because you don't know this part of my life, but I used to be a polar opposite. A couple of you know. Debbie Wald, a few of you know. I used to be like a shell of a woman with no voice and no sense of self. I didn't know how to say no, and I was in an abusive relationship. My kid's father. And so just the idea of having to go to court and get divorced was the hardest thing, and I didn't know if I could even go through with it. And so she was really helpful in that. And anyway, the theme song, this is still a cul-de-sac, but I'm coming back to the main road. By the way, it was to the left. That was my theme song. But anyway, I was teaching through all that. That was just one of the things when life was lifing in my life. I'm also a serial, you guys don't know this, because I don't, it's not something that I think that I need to talk about. I'm a chronic migraine sufferer. My classes don't need to know that, you don't need to know that. So I often go to class feeling like shit. Or there have been seasons of my life, the divorce being one of a few seasons that have been dark and hard, where I, show up with a big, huge smile on my face and I bring all the energy. Another example of having to summon energy that I don't feel is, I have had to teach classes to one person before, or two or three, and I pretend there's 40 people in the room. And so that takes something, I'm similar to Diva like this. I love the car hype videos that you guys do. I'm actually it's individual, like that works for these girls. I am the opposite also, like I'm very quiet, and I often will get into the parking garage or at the Y, and I like to sit in my car for a second, and I call it summoning my joy and summoning my gratitude, and summoning my energy, because we can bring that, irrespective of what's going on in our lives. We can summon that, especially when we love teaching. So teaching is my safe space and a shelter from the storms of my life too. So that's how I kind of summon it in myself. I take some quiet moments in my car, think through the energy I want to have, and I leave my shit in the car.
Yes.
I leave my shit in the car. And then in terms of motivating the class when their energy is low, Can you guys help me with that one?
It gets into the audience, into the members. Like
Yeah.
they're doing tuck jumps, she's doing tuck jumps right with them.
Right.
Yeah,
I get in there.
Yeah.
It makes them work harder.
And also, I want my energy to be congruent with theirs. So sometimes the mood is off. Like maybe something happened in the community, or I don't know. Maybe the mood is suppressed in a certain class, and I feel like I feel almost phony being like hype girl. So sometimes I'll match their energy. I'll cue less. I'll talk less, and similar to how we want our cueing style to be congruent with the energy of the song. I'm not gonna try to really manipulate their energy too much. Obviously, I want them to have a great time, but some amazing group exercise experiences aren't super hypey classes where everyone's clapping and cheering. And also, sometimes we think we taught a bad class or the energy was off. We don't know what's going on in their lives. That might have been the most powerful, beautiful experience they've ever had in a group X room, and we just didn't know. Or maybe we thought we were the shit, and we were so fun, and we were cracking jokes, and maybe we didn't connect to them, and it wasn't a home run. So we don't really know. We don't know what's going on in people's worlds. So.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was really special. Those are great tips, but also the personal stuff that you shared. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Diva, I'm coming to you. How do you create connection in your community and with your class participants?
So, I make it a point to not know everybody's name. You get the name I give you.
Oh. Everybody was like,
You get the name I give you. So right off the bat, people walk in and I just started teaching at this new club. I don't know these people names. I'd be like, yo, sneaker girl, red hair. And they start laughing. I'm like, what's your name? She's like, Annie. I'm like, what's your name? Ann. All right, you are now Annie Square. Good. Who are you? Why are you so flexible? Flexible boy. All right, so Annie Square, flexible boy. I need y'all to go over there. So right off the bat, I mean, as stupid as it seems, that's my way of saying, I know you. I know who you are.
Yeah.
I've named you. You now belong to me. In the Diva experience.
Yeah.
You're part of my ecosystem. So, shut up, man. For real. So that's one of the ways I kind of connect right off the bat. And then I'll walk in a room I don't care what people be going through. I just kind of walk in and I'm like, yo, we about to have class. Get your shit together. And I'm like, you heard me. Get it together.
Remember when you were teaching a couple weeks ago, and you're like, oh, you're talking to me.
Oh yes. So I subbed the cycle class for somebody, and I know my energy's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes I used to not understand how people read me. They're like, she's cool, but do we talk? Or we speak? What do we do? I had one of my mentors tell me, it's like, Diva, sometimes it's just a lot. And I'm like, it is. So I walked in and I'm teaching this kick-ass class, and then they were just like, I was like, you know what? Y'all gonna talk to me. Because I did not get up on Sunday morning for y'all not to talk to me.
Yeah.
I was like, so figure out what y'all gonna do, because this class is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm playing with the music, and finally they started kind of laughing. I was like, God, y'all made me work for this morning. And they kind of just laughed, but sometimes you gotta pull it out of them. I have no problem pulling out of it. I want them to feel like I know them, I see them in my own weird, obnoxious way. And that's kind of how I foster that environment. And they get to a point where you're doing it right when they come back. As irritating as I can be, you're doing it right when they come back. I just started at this new club, and I was telling her, I was like, yo, I walked in and class was full. This place doesn't really get full classes because their instructors are they're not fun. And everybody says, you're so fun, you're so energetic, you look like you want to be here, you seem so passionate. You know what I mean? What? I was doing my thing. I'm doing my thing.
I'm looking for a new co-creator.
So I have to say, fostering community, making connection, and doing it in your way so they know they exist. You let them know I see you.
Yes.
Even the ones who hide, I'm like, I see you.
I think that's a very important point to elaborate on, Diva, a little bit. How many of you notice in your classes that when you see that person, you call that person out, you're talking to that person, I see you, is that flexible boy? Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
They're coming back. They're coming back.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so quickly, Ruben, can you elaborate on that just a little bit? What do you do?
I just make connections with everyone. That's from the start of my class. Before, not even start, before my class. Every person that comes in through those doors, I greet them. I greet every single one before and after class. And the reason why is because yes, Diva might go into your face, but there's some people who don't like that. And but what I experience though is that you sometimes have shy people in the class that go, don't come next to me. One, because of trauma, two, bad experiences, and three, whatever's happening. But if I go, hey, you know what? I noticed you, and you're doing great. That contagiousness from that will bring them out of their shell next time. So they know they just had a rapport with you. The more the more that you make it personal to people, the more that they will come back, and most of all, build a community. But figure out, what does your community need? All right? And just another thing really quick is just be your authentic self. Do not change for anybody. And that's including the club, that's including your class as well. Once you come with your whole heart and lead with intention, then everything will be like all together.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'm coming for this next one because we all heard that you have been in the fitness industry, yes?
Yes.
We all heard about it. Okay, what is one moment in your career that helped shift your identity from, I'm faking it, totally faking it right now, fake it till I make it, to I belong here?
Ooh.
So that's a very tactical one for me, and when I read that question ahead of time, I was like, I got it. So the first club that I taught at was a privately owned gym. It was owned by a stunt coordinator. My whole life, I guess, has involved stunts. And Wayne and Janet. And they owned this club. Obviously, it was one of their many, many things that they did. And Janet, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Janet Gretzky, it can be challenging. And she would change the schedule based on her own schedule. So, not about the members, but all of a sudden she's like, you know what, now I have to take my kid to school, so I want to move that class to 9:30. So it was a really rough place to work. You try to build a following, and all of a sudden the schedule got changed because she felt like it. But there were two rooms. One was this massive room, probably this size. I didn't get to teach in there because I wasn't one of the popular people. My classes were small, and I had this small room. And I remember the teacher that I was teaching at the same time as was pretty arrogant. He was pretty good too. But in my mind, I was like, I gotta outgrow this class. I'm gonna do it. So I started teaching and doing the things that everybody's been talking about, going out of my way, introducing myself, inviting people in, building a community to where we started to grow, and all of a sudden that room became too small. At the same time, his classes were shrinking, and that's where, even though Janet didn't want to, she had to switch rooms. And that was the moment I was like, I'm there. You always learn and grow and improve, right, throughout the years, but I was like, they had to literally switch. They had to switch rooms because I had built a good following and worked really hard at it. So that was my moment where all of a sudden I was like, I think I got this.
Yeah. Woo.
Haha, Janet.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Diva, I would like for you to weigh in on that. What do you do to change it? What did you do? Because we all know you're not faking it anymore. You're the real deal. So let us in.
I was in college. I was teaching at Temple University. It's funny that I'm back at Temple. I actually helped create the program in the 90s. Damn. And I was a new instructor. I actually started, for all you Y girls, I actually started my fitness career at the YMCA. Little known fact. I started at the North Philly YMCA, and I remember walking into a room and the lady was teaching, and me being my annoying cocky self, I was like, I can do that. And she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I got it. I could do this. She was like, come back next week and I'm gonna teach you, right? So I go back next week and she starts to teach me how to structure a class. get that class, it like blew up, because, you know, he was just, yay, good time, good time. So then I go to Temple, and we were starting from zero. They had no group fitness program there. And they had just built this multi-million-dollar building, and I used to teach a class called Millennium Funk. This is how long ago this was. We're talking 98, okay, 98, 99. Go in, and every week we were just dancing our little hearts out, and I enjoyed it. I had fun. I was being my obnoxious self. And then one day I walked in to take class, to teach class. I had 80 people in the hall. Now, hear me out. 80 people. And that was one of the times I was like, oh shit. Like, and I would walk in the room, and they were like, hey, like, it was weird. It was like, they were like I was like Janet or something. You know? It was crazy. They had to give out tickets. The line started an hour before class.
Come on.
That went on for 4 years.
What?
And I'm getting chills thinking about it now, and I was like, oh my God. I can't believe I did this. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? I was in school for dance, but in that moment, I was like, I think I'm good at this fitness thing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was gonna, remember, I was a dancer. I thought I was going on Broadway. Like, I was like, I might be good at this. And then that's when I truthfully kind of dove in and was like, I'm gonna just make this my career, because clearly I'm not getting on Broadway. So that was like a moment for me. And I remember it vividly. It was like, and it was every week. 80, a slow week was 50 people.
Wow.
And mind you, there were classes get 5, 10 every week. Wednesday night, Millennium Funk.
Awesome.
That was my
Woo! Yes.
That is definitely an I belong here.
Yes.
I love this question so much. I am going to ask Ellen if you wouldn't mind answering this one as well, because it's so relevant to why we're here today.
Yeah, I'll go quick, no cul-de-sacs. I was reminded recently about one of the members from the gym said to me, oh no, she commented under an Instagram post. I remember when you said you were too old to start doing your own program. So like years ago when I was heavily involved with Beachbody, she had said to me, why don't you just do your own programs? And this was years ago, like I was a young woman. I was like much younger than I am now. And I said, and I believed it, I said, I'm too old to start that now. Like, I'm too old to start that now. And obviously, I don't think that anymore, and I'm much older. So obviously I flipped a script in my head, and it really was a mantra. Like, it really just was as simple. I know it sounds simple. It really was this simple for me, and I recently talked about it, I think on the Idea Pro show, so maybe you heard this, but I literally just, instead of saying, like, who am I literally just, my mantra was, why not me?
Yes.
Why not me? Like, who?
Yes.
Why not me? Why someone else? Like, why is someone else better or more qualified? Why would I discount me? And that's really what it was, a mantra, just a talking to myself. Literally, that's why I chose the name of the panel, Flip Your Script, because I believe in the power of change. I believe it because it is true. I changed what I was saying to myself, and that's what allowed it to happen.
Change the narrative.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, this one's for Ruben. What do you do outside of class to stay inspired and continuously improve? What do you do outside of class to stay inspired and continuously?
I love that question because I'm constantly finding ways to improve. That's whether finding mentorship, that's going to conferences like this, being part. I seek community, if that's a big thing. Like that, like my heart being LGBTQ+, like to me that's everything. Like I get to choose my family at the end of the day, you know, and I want inspiration, so I go to different conventions, I seek mentorship, I seek feedback. And I look for opportunity in different ways and avenues. If someone tells me no, I ask why. And then they give me the feedback, I go, well, let me flip it and let me see what other ways. You're gonna get a lot of no's. I'm gonna be very honest. I get no's today too. No matter what award, no matter what format lead I am or anything like that, you know, I'm gonna get a lot of no's. And I will probably still get a no. But there's one yes that could probably change your life at the end of the day, you know? And there's someone like Ellen who could take a chance on you know? Because I would never have thought Roots could come from this. We both didn't know. You know, it was taking chances, taking risks, like the what if, the unknown at the end of the day, you know? So, like, that's what I do. Seek mentorship, find your path, take risks, and just believe in yourself.
The best tip. The best tip. Okay. We're flipping the script. We're at that midpoint now. I'm trying to get, I wanna finish on time. We have such a tight schedule today. So we're gonna actually move into part 2. Okay, we're gonna move into part 2, and part 2 is again building a business and promoting you as the rock star warrior you were meant to be. Okay, so questions coming in hot. Here we go. Chris, what's your strategy for getting hired at multiple facilities?
So as a facility owner for 20 years, I hired a ton of people, and I will tell you that doing research and understanding the organization that you want to potentially work for is really important, and it's very impressive when you have those conversations. So there's nothing worse. That was always an interview question that we would ask. We'd say, so what do you know about our facility?
Nice.
And certain people would go, it's a gym, and we have dumbbells, right? Not very impressive. But when somebody, and by the way, it's as easy as Google and ChatGPT, find this stuff out. But when you can go into an interview and be like, here's what I love about goals, right? I really align with the mission, vision, values. I love the diverse exercise, group exercise program that you have, all the class and all those opportunities. There's nothing that an employer wants to hear more than that. So do your research, know about the organization, go on their social, so it's not just like, I read your mission statement online, but I saw that you had this event, it looked really awesome, you know, an open house. But that way people know you truly care and that you're the type of person that does that sort of research, that really invests in their career, because there's a lot of instructors who just teach because they teach, right? All of you are different, and I know that for a fact because you're here, right? In an event like this, learning and growing. But yeah, really research the organization. And also the flip side, your script part of that is, you may not want to work for an organization that you think you do. You may not align with their values, it becomes a miserable experience, because the magic happens when you're a good fit and they're a good fit for you. It goes both ways, right? So do your research, learn about the organization, learn about their group exercise program, look for gaps that because you're selling yourself where you can fill, right? So you're like, you know what, I noticed you didn't have a lot of the particular format that you teach. Why is that? Ask those questions too, right? So research, learn about it, show that you are the type of person who does the homework and gives and bumps the lamp, right? You give the extra.
Know your gym, do the work, do the research.
Because it's funny, sometimes on paper things seem awesome. You're like, oh, I'd love to teach at Equinox.
Get there.
And you're like, this is horrible, right? So, you know, that's just miserable, so make sure.
Okay, so Ellen, how many gyms have you worked at here in Eugene, Springfield area?
Sorry, my son. My son called, so he's bringing the presenter's lunch. Sorry, I was distracted. How many gyms have I worked at?
How many gyms?
Yeah. I don't know. Mickey, what was that one that the group X room was the size of the stage? It was women's only out like, remember? What was that one?
Oh, Cottage Grove. Was it Cottage Grove?
Yeah. I don't know. I worked at so many. It was Better Bodies one.
Better Bodies, yeah.
It was a Troy Finn Frock Club.
Off the top of your head. Shout out.
Well, no, I gotta get specific. Then I worked for a whole bunch of well, it was a 24-hour fitness and it changed to Oz and it changed to International Fitness. Like, it kept getting bought out. I don't know. Gold, yeah, I kept changing the name, but really the same people. So, but currently I teach it too.
So the reason I ask
Yeah,
is
I'm not
because
sure what the
aside
question-
from, knowing the gym and doing the research, how did you do it? How did you get into all those gyms as yourself? And then now as the creator of format, how are you getting this into multiple gyms?
Okay,
You have a tip?
those are two different questions. I haven't had trouble getting into gyms because of my skill level that I've worked hard at. I sucked when I started, but I got in because there was a need at a gym, and then I worked really hard to become better at teaching, and I've never had trouble since. I could point my finger and teach where I want to teach at this point. So because of the hard work, so that hasn't been difficult. But the other part of the question, how would I recommend
Your
getting warrior?
program, like if you're a warrior specific instructor and you wanna find a gym that doesn't have warrior programming, what's your strategy?
It's similar to what Chris said about doing your research, but different.
Similar.
Thank you. I actually say like to the master trainers have heard a lot. They've heard me say this a lot. Look at their website, at their Group X schedule, see what they have, see where holes are, see if they have a need for our programming. And I really think our programming is so versatile that it can fit even if they have Les Mills. So first look and see where and how it might work harmoniously with what they have, because we have to reach out like we have a solution.
Yeah.
And so I teach my master trainers rather than be like, I'm a master trainer and I have these great programs and we this. I teach them to say, what do you guys need? Maybe I have a solution. Do you need something fresh, original, cutting edge, safe and effective, license free? Do you want something? I see you have yoga, but do you have a program that is going to reach people that don't like yoga but wish they did? Do you have a strength training program that has formulas that are all about fun and gamification and building community inherently within the way the formulas are built? Like, do you have a weightlifting program that changes the order of the way? So just asking what their needs are, and our programs do solve problems. So leading with how can I serve you? How can I help you? Rather than I'd like to host a training or I'd like to have a class on your schedule. I think is the best
So
approach.
really quickly, that is
Please.
incredible information, because it's what can we do for you, because that's
Exactly.
what facility's gonna say is,
Thank you
what's
for
in it
saying
for
it
me?
better.
And one of the bad things about group exercise is that sometimes owners, especially if they don't take classes, and I mean, you all have worked in many clubs, and there's all sorts of owners out there. I was
Yeah.
hands-on, I taught classes, but
Which is so unusual. Most owner operators are oblivious to the value of group exercise.
and that's exactly where I was going. So they see it as an expense item.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you gotta pay your instructor, so it's just a cost line item to them.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't understand that when you look at the statistics, and Les Mills does a good job of putting out statistics and research on Group X, but the amount of members that only come to class and the retention level goes up if they take classes.
Oh,
They
insane.
spend more
Yeah.
money in general, so revenue per member goes up.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to these facilities, you know, you've gotta work that into your sales pitch also, the financial parts. And basically gyms are revenue, retention, and referrals.
That's it.
So as you're saying, you know, especially a program like this that is so strong on the community aspect in the building, you're gonna increase referrals, you're gonna retain more people, because especially those hands-off owners, and it makes me so mad, because I was such an active participant in Group X, I taught classes, but they're like, it just costs money, where can we cut? So the minute they look for expenses, let's cut some classes, which is the worst thing you can do, right? So keep that in mind as well when you're doing that.
Thank you for adding on to that.
And to the Les Mills point, Les Mills is incredible. They've been around for, I just looked, 57 years. But you know what? A lot of clubs are really, really itching to get rid of those licensing fees. So a lot of clubs are looking for a solution to replace, and so we are perfect for that club. We're perfect for that club because we have a yoga program, we have a strength and HIIT program, we have a cardio, a kickboxing program, we have a cycling program. So we have a chair-based program. So we solve that for clubs, and then also a lot of clubs want to get rid of everything but body pump. because the other Les Mills programs just aren't as successful as Body Pump. So they want to strip out some of the other ones that they're locked into, and then also some clubs love their Les Mills and want to keep their Les Mills. But if you are confident and you know how to speak, which we're going to talk about in one of the sessions today about how to be confident in the way you speak about something, if you can practice talking confidently about the value of whichever warrior format or all of them or whatever you teach, if you can get really comfortable talking about the benefits of that, our programs harmonize wonderfully with Les Mills because they are dissimilar. They are, like, if you took Body Pump, it would be great for your body to also teach warrior strength so that you're not always lifting in the same way. Like warrior rhythm is actually much more vigorous than their version of yoga. Our cycle is way different and our music is if you know, kind of like our kickboxing program uses weights and has the 3 sections where one focuses on boxing combination with an authentic flavor, and then we have a conditioning block for your heart rate, and then we lift weights. That's not like Body Combat. So just get really comfortable in talking about how they can complement each other, because we don't want, if a club wants to keep Les Mills, we want to serve them. Then we talk about how they complement. If a club wants to get rid of Les Mills, we change the language. We lean into how we have a kickboxing program and we don't accentuate the differences. Know what I'm saying? Okay.
Thank you so much. I was just looking around like, I hope we're writing this down. This is gold. Like, you have 4 panelists up here
But
who
like,
have done exactly
but like
that.
honestly in Eugene, like, and it's every club has warrior, and there's actually way more demand than supply. I mean, all the clubs in town are dying for subs and they don't have them. So it just has to do with how I'm able to talk to these clubs. So
Right.
Okay. We went into a couple questions, like you described them perfectly, so I'm gonna actually bump ahead and throw this one to Ruben. How do you build trust? How do you build trust with a new facility or manager? Kind of in that same vein of like, you know, getting your business there, getting a format there.
At the end of the day, being a director myself, I need you more than you need me sometimes. And what that means is that, like, usually if I'm looking for someone as a director standpoint, it's because 1, someone quit, 2, I'm very desperate for an instructor. You know, so I feel the way we build trust is by what we said before here, is the sense of doing your research, but also you as the instructor proving to me that you could handle things on your own and not be micromanaged by me. What that means is helping me figure out ways to do marketing. How can I help you make yourself successful? Because what happens is that if you're successful, you're bringing me money. You're bringing me people outside. So what ways are you going to do to enhance your class experience and enhance our club or organization or facility? So building that trust relationship, bringing members in, thinking outside the box with different pop-ups and community events, bringing like vendors coming in. That creates buzz. The more buzz you give me, the more trust I have in you as an instructor.
Oh, yes. Okay.
One thing real quick, professionalism.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is in organizations, sometimes it's like, oh, just a group exercise instructor. But when you are the one who's on time, whose classes end when they're supposed to, you know, setup is good, cleanup is good, replying to communications. I can't tell you how frustrating. I was running a club up in Humboldt. Where are we? Down in Humboldt. I usually say that in Los Angeles. So down in Humboldt County, and people just not replying to, not you. That was no best work there. That wasn't like, it's you. You know, that they don't know. So just when somebody, you know, when there's an email that goes out, reply to it, even if it's like, oh, got it. If it's just information, but be professional, go above and beyond. That's going to build a high level of trust in an industry where, let's face it, y'all are different again because you're here. This is a great branded, organized community program. A lot is not. It's just fly by, trainers who aren't certified and group X instructors who just try to do. So when you'll elevate your trust with all sorts of employers by just exhibiting that level of professionalism, which is easy, right? That's why it baffles me that sometimes people just don't do it, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely easy. It's something that you can control.
100% in your control.
100% in
Yep.
your control.
But well said, Mary.
Control the
Okay.
controllables.
Yeah.
Diva, this one's coming to you. I'm so interested to hear your answer on this, or your tips. What marketing or branding tips have helped you build a loyal following? I'm like, Ellen's like, I got it. But Diva, I want to hear from you.
First thing, full transparency, I created Diva. I did. When I started teaching, I got a bunch of names, because black people and names. I'm sorry. I got a bunch of names. So everybody used to call me by they used to all call me by my Muslim name when I was younger because of where I grew up. Everybody used to call me Nalaja, right? So when I started teaching, I literally was like, I was Nalaja on the schedule. My government name is Paulette. I'm named after my mom. Y'all know this. But I'm looking at the schedule one day, and this is during the Millennium Funk era, right? And I'm like, me and my 3 best friends all got these Diva tattoos. So I'm like looking at the schedule, I was like, I went to the director's office, I was like, yo, change it to Diva. She was like, what? I was like, just put Millennium Funk with Diva. And she was like, all right. Cause I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'll take class with Jessica and Melissa. But then I looked up, I was like, who's Diva? It created this aura off the bat. It was kind of like my rapper name, So it was like, who's Diva? So the first thing I did, I created an aura around who I was. And then it goes back to, I created the experience. It was always once you walk in class with me, you are officially sucked into my ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, all things, everything, what are we doing? Let's have I want to suck you in. And then we're like, party, party, party. When you leave, I want you to be drained and wore out and be like, oh my God, that was the best thing ever. So a lot of it was creating a persona that was easy to market. I would take class with Diva. Wasn't too intimidating, sounded kind of cool, sounded kind of sassy. Who's that? And what was the next part of that question? I'm sorry, you said,
Just the marketing and branding tips that help build a loyal following.
being consistent in how you present. Being super consistent in how you present. Warrior has an identity. Diva has an identity. Ruben, Diva's gonna probably come in, she's gonna have on basketball shorts, baseball cap, fly sneakers, what is that? You know what I'm saying? What is that? So you're identifiable. Diva has red hair. That's part of the reason why I switched my hair to red 10 years ago. Because I wanted to stand out. Group fitness is so freaking saturated. I was like, how do I stand out? Diva, okay, that's part of it. It was the girl with the red hair and the neck tattoos?
Yeah.
I take class with her. So, as I started to create this person, this character, it made it easy to market. I didn't have to sell. There was nothing to sell. Because the vibe was already there and it was real. It's like when you go see your favorite artist. Beyonce ain't gotta sell you on shit. You walk in, you she done came out, fan is going, the hair is back here, the heels are on, and you already sold.
Yeah.
Because you're that's the experience. You're already sucked in. So by creating that, it makes it easy to market and market yourself. And being consistent on social. And I'm quite sure there's I think Boss is gonna get to that later. But making sure your social media presence aligns with how you wanna be viewed and marketed. And if it's out of alignment, it won't work for you. I promise you. You're why is nobody coming to class? Because your page don't look like you do kick-ass classes. It looks like you bake. Not that there's nothing wrong with baking, but that's why I have 2 Instagrams. One is like fitness, 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 fitness. Like, this looks fun. She yelling in the camera again. She talking about DJ Mustard. Like, it makes you wanna come see what it's about.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure this part is aligned with your vision. You gotta make sure you create an energy, an aura, and an ecosystem to suck people into, and then make sure like your social presence aligns with that, because then you don't have to sell. You are it, if that makes sense to you.
On a technical level too.
I wanna trap in too. I can go last, it doesn't matter.
Mine's real simple. You use the word consistency. I love this because, like, in all the people that I'm friends with in my area that are realtors, I can tell when they went to a realtor conference. Because then for like a week, they're like,
Oh, yeah.
and they must have said use videos on
Yeah.
Facebook. Like, you see for like a week, and then you don't see them again
That's
until the
right.
next conference. So consistent. Create a content plan, create a content schedule. I mean, Warrior in general and Ellen, you guys are all
Oh, she's
incredible at that. It's super inspiring even for me. I'm like, I gotta do more of that. But yeah, be consistent. Don't, you'll do it for 2 weeks and you get busy. You just create a content plan. Here's when I post, here's when I interact, because you gotta interact to stay active in
We're
people's
basically
feeds.
spammy. We're basically spammy, we're so consistent. I was trying to
Well,
make fun of myself.
No, but it's good. No, but that's true though. It's good content though, right? 'Cause your content has to be good. Like if I said, hey, just post 3 times a week, and you did, but it was
Yeah.
lame, then you are spammy. When the
Yeah.
content is good, so just be consistent. Don't like leave this conference inspired and do it for 2 weeks and then stop and wonder why you don't get business. Right? Be consistent with your posting.
Yeah, I was gonna add to it
We're all dying
that,
to hear from you.
no, I approach it similar to how I do a club, like that whole servant, like how can I serve you mindset, with who I am as an instructor, who I am with Warrior. In terms of like a marketing mindset, it's that same, how can I serve? What need do you have that Warrior or my classes can serve? Like whether it's becoming an instructor or taking my class, I try to create a lot of like fun FOMO type stuff. So it's that kind of how can I serve you mindset, so that it feels, rather than like my stuff is salesy, I want it to feel like it's service work. The other thing, and Chris and I were talking about this last night on the vistas out when we all went outside and twirled. He brought up the whole Laura's prayer. How unusual it was that we started our conference with prayer.
And good, by the way. Unusual's a strange. You're like, it was unusual.
No,
He said it was unusual.
no. Unusual in a good way. Unusual in a good way. And he was just saying, like, he was complimenting me for that, you also, and just saying that that's not for everybody, and that's gonna be off-putting and is off-putting for some, and it is, and I'm okay with that. Warrior Rhythm is off-putting for some, a lot, especially the like diehard yogis think we're doing some bullshit, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because it just allows me to really find the right people for rhythm or for whatever. So that is my tip too.
Yeah.
So and it relates to what Diva's saying. Like, my class isn't for everybody. I think I talked about this on my podcast with Angel. Like, I've had, Revolution, if you don't know, we're doing like all kinds of stuff on the bike, like all kinds of stuff. It's not for everybody, and I could tone that down. I play my music loud, not too loud like I used to, Mickey. Mickey is the one who made me stop wearing underwear. You are! Debbie, right? Am I right or am I right? Yeah, because I used to teach cycle back when those low slung pants were popular. The low slung, like really low. And then they would like also be low. I had like some cute ones that had also a V in the back, and the thong, the triangle would like sit up above it when you're hinged. And I had a mirror behind me, and she's like, take them off. It's better that way. And I've never gone back. It is better that way if you're teaching with underwear.
Yeah.
Please, if you take nothing away from this conference, teaching in underwear. But anyway, back to this point. Like, I'm at the why. The why is high high volume, big, huge classes. They have 1 million members that love group fitness, so they always have someone new that doesn't necessarily know what they're getting into. So anyway, I play my music loud, not too loud. And we do all this party stuff on the bike. It's not for everybody, just like rhythm. And so every once in a while, and I was just new starting there a year ago, and there would be people that you would do nothing that I would be doing. Like they would be doing nothing, or they would be like, "Can you turn the music down?" And I'm like, no. I say it diplomatically, but I just say I'm really trying to create a lot of energy in here, and here's where the speakers are in the room if you want to sit, like avoid them. But this class is kind of party vibe, so it might not be for you. We've got so many different styles of cycle here at the Y. Like play, and rather than me trying to like, okay, how can I please this person, please that person? I didn't want him to come back. I honestly was like, in my mind, I was like, don't come back. This is not for you. This is not for you. So all that I think helps. Like just do you.
Okay, I barely have any time left, so very quickly, like rapid fire down. I want to give each panelist a chance to give final thoughts about flipping your script. Ruben, I'm gonna start with you. So any wisdom you can impart on us on how to flip your script and just build your brand.
Like we said before, be consistent, create the experience, be your authentic self, create a wow factor that is you. Even though you have Warrior, you also have a personal brand which is you. So Warrior is a part of you, so enhance all of that together.
I think too often it's a badge of honor to try to do stuff by yourself. And there's a cliche that says if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Reach out for support. You know, like at the end of my keynote, I deliberately put my email there. If you've got a question, reach out. You've got such a great community. You've got these experts. Don't try to bang your head into a wall and figure stuff out on your own. That's one of the beauties. Not only is this great, several great formats and, all of that, but you've got this community of each other to support, right? So reach out, share best practices, ask for feedback, and just utilize this incredible network that Ellen, Diva, Ruben, and all of you have made possible.
Diva.
Final thoughts. Be a rock star. Like just show up and show out. Big energy. And big energy doesn't mean loud. Like quiet people have big energy too, if that makes sense. So just show up and show out. And if you're consistent in that way and build communities and ecosystems that people can't escape, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. There's no other outcome. Like you just win. You know what I'm saying? So big energy.
Yeah. Two things real quick. The reason we did the leather and lace, that was supposed to show you this like sharp contrast, a juxtaposition between styles and energy. We're super different. We dress different, we talk different, we think different, and
Sorry.
so there isn't that was supposed to be a demonstration to you that there isn't a way. She's her, I'm me, you're you. So do that. And in terms of flipping your script, I already said it, it's the power of what we say to ourselves can redirect the entire trajectory of your life. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 45-minute lunch break, right? 45-minute lunch break.
We have a 45-minute lunch break.